Hello everybody and welcome to another Top 5 Records video, and a special one because, in my opinion, the month of October is the month of Halloween. Now, that's a theme month, and we've got another theme month in a year, that's December, and December is the month of Christmas albums. But October, Halloween, doesn't really have specific Halloween albums. Of course, there are bands that balance in the horror climate, but, putting on a record for the month of Halloween and getting into the right atmosphere, it's kind of like a different thing. So what I've decided to do is I've decided to make a list of the 5 scariest albums for Halloween. Now, one thing I excluded are death metal albums and all, because if it's a scary album for Halloween, you want to be able to put it on during a Halloween party. And so the album can be a little bit scary. It can have some fun scary elements, it can have some sincere scary elements, but I want to be able to put this on at a party. And I don't like death metal. Easy rule. Now, I'm gonna kick off this list for the 5 scariest albums to put on this Halloween. And on the number 5 spot, I have Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath. Why this album? Well, shall I start off with this album cover? Nobody knows who the woman in this picture is. Seriously, it's not a marketing stunt. This album cover was shot and the woman disappeared. It's still unknown. It's one of the great mysteries of the world of rock. Now, that doesn't make an album scary at all. Well, it does give it an air, but it does make the music scary. This album is genuinely scary. What I never understood was during our early music lessons on school, we learned that Black Sabbath was a band which was associated with the devil and people were genuinely afraid of it. And I never really understood that. I loved Black Sabbath when I was about 15, 16. I still love them. But I never understood why they would be scary. I mean, yeah, there's a guy on stage biting up bed hats. Yeah, that might be scary. But putting on the music itself, is it dangerous? I never truly got that until I got this final version. This is a 1980 NEMS pressing, and this is a pretty good pressing. I don't have a first UK to compare it to, but the first time I heard this pressing, I thought, oh, this is scary. Because the title track Black Sabbath, when you put it on, you hear church bells, you hear rain, and there's an evil, haunting presence on there. And when the guitar starts, it's as if the apocalypse is coming. It's as if the guillotine is being placed and people are being put forward to be put on trial. Death is coming, and it's all in the sound, because on this pressing I could hear Ozzy Osbourne is a scary man. There is fear and anxiety in his voice. And this album has an awesome, impressive, horrifying atmosphere. On the number 5 spot, the first album by Black Sabbath. On the number 4 spot, Joy Division with Closer. Now, how would you beat Black Sabbath? Because Black Sabbath has a genuine horror theme. This album, and I should also show you the back side of it, this album is haunting because of the tale which surrounds it, because this is the final album of Joy Division. The lead singer, Ian Curtis, committed suicide. And you can hear it somewhat in his lyrics. You can hear it in the haunting quality of the sound, in the way the bass sounds, in the way the atmospheres are sounding, in his voice. This is someone lost. You hear a man lost. And this album, I mean, take a look at the album picture. I mean, this album is a deathbed. It's very haunting, very sincere. Joy Division, Closer. On the number 4 spot. On the number 3, well, one of the best artists in the category of doom and gloom, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, Murder Ballads. Now, Murder Ballads, it's an awesome album. But the title Murder Ballads comes from this tradition in mostly folk music. Because in the early years, when a murder would occur or bad things would happen, you would have murder ballads. So a troubadour would come to a town and somebody would be executed there. There was an execution going on. And he'd write down the story of what happened, and were mostly men killing off their women. Terrible crimes. And they would write it down in a song. So you'd have murder ballads traveling from town to town. So those are ghost stories horror stories in songs. And actually, Nick Cave made an album of that. And this album is full of those murder ballads. And it finishes off beautifully with the song "Death Is Not the End" by it's a Bob Dylan cover. Most horrifying element of it, not even staggerly, although that's a tough one. Where the Wild Roses Grow. I mean, the way Nick Cave gets into the psyche of somebody who's completely losing it, and the combination between love and murder, oh man, it's haunting. It's haunting. Nick Cave has got some dark thoughts going on. On number 3, Murder Ballads by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. Which brings me to the second spot. How could one make a Halloween list and leave Alice Cooper out? Well, one cannot. Welcome to My Nightmare. And this album is, in a sense, way more a playful horror album. It doesn't never become as horrifying as a song like I Love the Dead, in which he sings about necrophilia. This album, though, is one of the ideal albums for a Halloween party. The opening title, I mean, brilliantly sounding. The producer, Bob Ezrin, is a master in its craft. I mean, it starts off with a beautiful Welcome to My Nightmare, which is a fun, nice horror tune. But immediately after Devil's Food, it has this great big voiceover. No, it's not a voiceover. It's more an acting performance, an audio-wise acting performance by Jonathan Pryce, which is of course one of the greatest horror actors of all time. I really love his work. He also does the voice in Thriller. Did I say Jonathan Pryce? I said Jonathan Pryce, right? Jonathan Pryce is a different actor. Holy fuck! How can I? No, I'm not gonna. Vincent Price. I always confuse Vincent Price and Jonathan Price. Vincent Price is also the one, of course, in Thriller. Jonathan Price is actually in one of my movies. I made a documentary and he worked together with someone. So I confused the two names. Nevertheless, Vincent Price is on this record. Awesome record. Number 1 spot. Scariest album for Halloween. Suicide by Suicide. And if this cover doesn't frighten you, wait till you listen to the first song on side 2, Frankie Teardrops. This album as a whole is a masterpiece. I mean, these are 2 guys, one singing and one doing the keyboards or the synthesizers. And it's incredible what kind of sound they get out of there. It's very haunting, and the song Frankie Teardrop tells the story of a story he read in a newspaper just before recording this album about a guy who went bananas and, how do I say this politely? Well, he murdered his family. And the song has that story haunting it throughout its entirety, and it's a long song, and I get goosebumps talking about it, and there is this scream in the song, and I knew it was coming. The first time I put this on, I knew it was coming. People told me it's one of the most horrifying sounds ever. Do not get shocked. And man, it shook me over. I mean, I was completely blasted away when I heard it, and I get goosebumps every time. It's a horrifying album, masterpiece, horrifying album. Those are my 5 picks for most scary, horrifying albums for Halloween. What are yours? Agree or disagree? But leave a comment below, and I'll see you in the next video.